Guys, we're live with Brenda. It's Brenda.
Hi, I'm here by
and the
myself.
Changer.
All by my lonesome.
I'll be right there, but we're
That's
excited.
okay, I can do it.
Last week we all had stuff that we had to do. So.
Yeah, so I apologize. We did not inform the public that we would be absent, and
Well,
I
we were
took off for a mini vacation, and you had quite an experience with the wrestling an alligator in your pool, I heard.
Yeah. So it should be here today, right?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everyone.
And a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff, and
Oh,
you
gosh.
know, the old thing of watch the news and be informed, not good.
Unplug, get replugged into being socialized and making human connections, folks. Put the phones down in the Facebook, and even though we're on it, and this does facilitate us interacting, but with this topic of conversation that I'm going to discuss today, Shane isn't even aware of, but he will find it near and dear to his heart. It will resonate strong and tweak his heartstrings, as it does mine. It will many others out there as well.
And I'm going to share this. When I'm on the phone, I'm sharing this. If you could please do the same. I'm not like texting people. I'm not emailing.
He's not trying to be rude or perturb or piss off people. This is a modo comunicano, and he has to do this as we're communicating. So some people think, like, I've heard numerous people say
and if you could ask them to do it also. So
yes, please send. This information today is going to really have a blanket effect on most humans that are walking and breathing and talking today. This topic, I was going to talk about a different topic today, actually, and we are going to talk about numerous topics, but we will discuss nutrition and show some fitness-related exercises.
And today's August. I try to put the date on my videos so it's on the video.
Yes, I know. You've been very consistent with that.
Today is August 13th. I like it. It's Friday the 13th. One of my
oh
favorite.
Gosh, I didn't even put that connection.
Oh, I love
today.
Friday the 13th.
Oh, you're the best.
I love numbers and patterns and
stuff.
stuff.
Well, you do because you're intuitive, and there's more and more relevance being connected with seeing patterns of numbers, which I'm going to have a topic of discussion with you.
Oh my God, one more thing to say. The dragonfly was in the pool yesterday, and then this morning when I got in the car, the dragonfly was in front of the window. So I believe in all that spiritual stuff.
Oh, well, you do, because the more we get, more and more evidence is showing that the more that we self-nurture, self-care, self-love, we only use like 10% of our brains, folks. And some of these ethereal things, I've had them occur. I'm going to share some stuff futuristically, not today, that is mind-blowing. And I'm not saying I'm special because I've had these experiences. Many have, and some are uncomfortable at talking about it.
We are all special.
Every one of us are.
We need to recognize that because we have heavenly heritage. So it's like assembly required. Like you have to work towards it, but we are all special. And you're super special. You help keep York County, and I'm sure further, very healthy, and the students at York College. So that's very special.
Thank you, and you as well. You're a hero to many of these students. I was just talking to one again the other day, and I will be resuming teaching at York College. Actually, I think it is August 24th. I'll be going outside to teach my high-intensity interval training class.
Nice.
So, and I'm blessed because I do get a lot of the athletes, which I love, and a mixture. So I'm very thrilled about that. And you've also influenced them on many levels because you're certainly well revered over there and well known in the eyes of these young, impressionable minds.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, it's consistency. I've known you. It took me 7 years to learn to start working on my core. Today I did headstands again. My hips were hurting. I don't even know why, but I do so many wild stuff.
Now, what are the yoga positions? Can you tell me 2 yoga positions that'll alleviate hip discomfort that I presented to you the other day?
Is it the pigeon?
Cat spot time.
Is it the pigeon? What do you put your...
Yes, very good.
The pigeon.
Will you please demonstrate that a little? Because I am getting a lot of patients with hip problems and bursitis and things of that nature that are...
At first I didn't believe her, right, when she would tell me this, right?
No one believes
because
it first.
I'm like, there's no way all this works because I can just go get some cream and a pill or a shot. And then when you really get informed, right, when you really truly trust yourself and the information when it's coming through and your intuition, then you're like...
Yes, we need to respect and honor that more often. and more evidence.
It's a process though, right?
Oh,
You gotta
absolutely.
do one thing, I believe one begets the next, inch by inch, life
It
is
is,
inch.
it's incrementally, we can't consume.
And don't beat yourself up.
The process is one rung at a time, one step at a time. And the thing is, we're unfortunately groomed as a society to have instant gratification. We want things yesterday. Magic bullet, fairy godmother wand boink on the head. Humpty Dumpty syndrome, I call when I get patients in the office, and I'll be perfectly candid. They've exhausted their options elsewhere. They've been to numerous doctors and specialists, and then they want me to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Now, when I try to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, my process or approach is a lot different. Like I mentioned, just to reiterate, a person, and what the topic of conversation today actually is going to kind of pretty much encompass what I'm going to say. And the individual who I'm going to be discussing is a Canadian-Hungarian MD. His name is, I hope I can pronounce, the pronunciation is correct, Gabor Mate or Mate. This sounds French, at least, because Canadians are influenced by the French. And the topic of conversation today is, this is very cutting edge information, because I scour, I have a thirst for knowledge.
Yeah.
And my knowledge expands over many realms, because when I see patients walk through the door, like I call Humpty Dumpty syndrome, I don't mean anything disparaging by that, I've had Humpty Dumpty syndrome myself. And what I mean by that is, people are shattered. It's kind of like if I take a vase or a vase or potato, tomato, I'm just being funny, and I drop it and it shatters. So you have to bring cohesiveness back. You have to, and when you bring that cohesiveness back, and you've seen, I think like they're mean vases or whatever, it shows that when you can put that cohesiveness back and bring things back together and glue them back together and create almost more solidarity than before it was broken. And this is where we learn how to heal from our wounds.
Yeah.
And healing from the wounds is what's bringing a lot of people into my office, because when we discuss the mind and body connection, you cannot separate one from the other. We're emotional, spiritual, intellectual, physical, mental beings. You cannot separate physiologically the emotional part of our body. These connections are proving more and more strong. This particular MD, he's British, and I like it's like Ava Gabor Mate, I hope I said it correctly.
He's like Christie's GPS, because he's British. Her GPS
they speak
is British, so he's just like that.
He has written a book, and you can look him up. The spelling is Gabromate, with a little Frenchy thing, poo over the E. And he wrote the book When the Body Says No. He has studied extensively. He's actually a Jewish, was at the end of the Nazi Germany, and he was stricken with a family that was subjected to a lot of the Holocaust towards the end. So his early years of life were influenced immeasurably, and he discussed, that's a catalyst in his book, is how he has been affected. And the books he has written, there's numerous ones, but the one that will stand out predominantly today I want to emphasize is When the Body Says No. And it's based on the stress and body connection, which we're going to discuss. And the premise of the book essentially is where addiction comes from. How we got it, why we have it, how do we deal with it in today's society. And his perception and approach is very different, because his perception of the United States methodology or other cultures is a little bit more barbaric. He sees it because of addicts being punished. And I'm going to discuss his perspective today. And it did resonate with me, because it appears as though the system in which we're taking, when we try to take an addict, they're locked up, they're put in isolation, they're chided or chastised. The approach he feels is somewhat barbaric, and more emphasis has to be placed upon what the catalyst or what created the addiction in the first place. So this is what this book entails. Its focus predominantly is on how we acquire these behavioral patterns which lead to addiction. And he is just, it really blew me away. I learned so much from this gentleman, and he does an audiobook as well, because a lot of us travel, and we can also pick this knowledge up en route to wherever our destination is. If it requires us to travel, a lot of us do work remotely from home as well. But in any event, you can listen or read. And he had mentioned in his, I have not read the book, I just listened to his lectures. I'm more of a, I love to listen and read when I can, but you know, we're multitasking, and sometimes we must, unfortunately, we're very blessed to have the audio available to us. But he goes on to say that addiction, the word addiction, first of all, comes, do you know what the word addiction, where the derivative is? This is a good trivia question. There's a derivative, no, it's
no idea.
Actually, it came from the Latin word. Addiction means slavery. You're a slave. Addictus, it originated.
I definitely am all that, but my belief is totally different than everyone else's.
Well, the slavery, this is what was the origin is. Whether it's not applicable to your, it's the way you perceive it, but this is where it formulated.
Most people take addiction like it's something you have. When there's a yin and a yang to everything, you can't have the opposite.
Absolutely, and I'm going to get into that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into that. And addictus is I think it, correct, I don't know if it's Latin. I think that may be the British spin.
Most words go back to Latin.
Yeah, everything typically goes back, even when it comes to physiologically our body, everything connected in anatomy, physiology is Latin origin. But addictus actually is kind of like an indentured service, like a slave had to work off for punishment if he owed a debt to society, for instance. This is where this all originated. Just to enlighten the public as to, you know, how we came up with the word addiction. And he, through his studies, he's an MD, and he has felt through his research and intensive knowledge regarding his different, he kind of looked at patients like I did when they come in. He started seeing the mind and body connection, much like I do. And you cannot separate one from the other. People come in with neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, and there's a manifestation of energy that finds the weak link in the body and wreaks havoc, okay? Now, how does this happen in the first place is where we need to go from the inception. I had discussed about narcissism like a few videos back or so, and like I said, I wasn't blame shifting whoever the caretaker is, because this can be multi-generational.
Sure.
He emphasizes that in the book. This usually, this is like I've mentioned, I think in the past, the sins of the sons or the daughters is passed on, you know, from the parents and through generational, many generations. And the thing is, what occurs is a child is not getting their needs met ultimately. Whether there's too much gushing or being ignored, the brain's perception is my needs are not being met. And this is an interesting concept. In America, actually, because I was listening to these videos, and this is what he said. This is just his opinion. I don't want things thrown at me. This is me talking. He said that Americans, how they treat their children, are a bit barbaric in how they're raised. In the sense of like, unfortunately, you have to put children in daycare. Our society and economy forces people to, both parents to work. And he kind of harkened back to our ancestors, and for instance, he used like a chimpanzee as an example. That child is, or that chimpanzee child, that chimp is literally glommed to mama for, you know, quite a few months. Yeah. And when a child, for instance, cries out, this is his perspective, and his, from observation and dealing with patients with wounds that occurred early on in the developmental stage, because the brain, as I mentioned, is in the formative years takes on all of this perception. If the child's being ignored, it feels its needs are not being met. Like if a child wails out crying for attention, we have been told in America, I know many, not all, that do not pick that child up. Now, his studies have found that a child that is not picked up is going to feel lonely and isolated. These are going to be established as the brain develops the child will get the message early on that it's not worthy of love, it should not be picked up, and it has to learn to self-soothe. Now, that's an important word I'm going to use later.
Yeah.
A child must learn how to self-soothe. Self-soothing can occur in different ways. And I will talk about that as a child, how you self-soothe, and how we self-soothe as adults, and which is addiction, which will take on very different dynamics. So this child, as the brain is formulating, it's taking this information in, it cries because it needs that touch. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, actually. If you go back to psychology, these are one of the needs. It's just it's a high up there is with food and shelter and clothing.
Sure.
Some places you don't need clothing, like right about now. We always get all stripped down, right? I'm just kidding. But it goes back to that, and he is finding that children that did not get this attention due to distractions within the household, like two parents working, and they're shuttled off to daycare, which, like I said, our society unfortunately forces us due to our economy that both parents have to work.
Yeah.
I remember when I was married, that's why we didn't have children. We both wanted children, but my husband had said to me, unless I can stay home with the children and or you, I do not want to have a child, in all fairness to the child.
Yeah.
Because had the fortunate ability, my mother stayed home with us growing up, and he goes, I think that helped me immeasurably in my formative years. So he was adamant against it, and you know, my baby was my business. I came out with $300,000 worth of debt almost, you know, from school. Maybe not quite that much, probably, over the years of paying interest. But anyway, to make a long story short, and get back to where we were talking about, he said addiction forms because the child's needs were not met in the beginning, and they were told, and this is just what they're formulating in their little young, impressionable, malleable minds, is that they are worthy and they cannot get their needs met, and I need to self-soothe. And self-soothing can come in different ways. That's why there's thumb sucking. I know as a child, my mother died quite young. I just turned 3, and I rocked myself to bed every night. And I did that until almost, my teenager.
Yeah.
I'm telling you one of my secrets, because it was a way of self-soothing. I would rock and listen to music, and that's how I got into dance and art, actually. I had this creative mind, and I rocked myself to sleep, and I was self-soothing. I didn't know what the heck I was doing at the time.
Right.
But now in retrospect, I know. So there's various things we do. We have a blankie. Sometimes these little children carry the blankie around, or the teddy bear, or a certain doll. They have to have that with them, that they need that for security. So children are it's imperative to the success of a child to have this attention, and it's quite primitive, he said. It just go back, within our ancestors even, the children were given this nurturing and love and attention consistently. So if a child cried, it was not crying for the sake of crying because it was being a spoiled brat. Its needs needed to be met more emotionally, not necessarily diaper being changed. That can be the case, or it's hungry, but it was hungry for emotional reinforcement and validation, essentially.
Yeah.
So he said this was the fertile ground for addiction, the catalyst for addictions forming, and so therefore the child shuts down early on and is devoid of feeling emotion because its needs weren't met. So unfortunately, his perspective is that carries over into adulthood, it creates addiction-related problems because you use the same type of dynamics within the family to deal with stressors. Don't talk about it, we don't discuss it, that's someone else's problem, let's pretend it didn't happen, our family's perfect, we don't make mistakes, don't show any weakness, because if you're a man, that's a sissy. And I have noticed too with men, or maybe it's with women too, but perhaps that men look very much to other men for validation and reinforcement. That's why when they have affairs, they get slapped on the back. Good radio, did you tap that one, did you nail that one? So it gets into the not just the fancy cars and the big houses, and because the grandiose type of behaviors, but they reinforce each other, because actually the addictions are what Dr. Gabor Mate said is actually covering up horrific pain. Because a pain that has created wounding that has not been addressed. And until the wounding is addressed, the addiction will remain. And it's on a spectrum. Addictions are on a spectrum. I used to have a shopping addiction, I'm not gonna lie. And at one time, I certainly could afford it. I mean, and I didn't even need the stuff. My grandparents that took me in when I was young momentarily were not very demonstrative with showing love. They were very stoic. And how they showed their love was let me go shopping. So I go shopping, and on these shopping sprees when I was a young girl, and boy, did I abuse their pocketbooks. I was the best dressed girl in school because I read Vogue magazine and Glamour and Mademoiselle and Montclair, whatever, and I was just, finding all these places and I'd go to the store that would have these items. And I remember keeping things in bags, even I didn't want to open the bag. That was my form of love, because I figured that's how they're showing me love. They're giving me money, they're buying me things. So we learn ways to love. Our perception skewed in different ways, what denotes or represents love to us. And we're not really getting the right stuff. And it's not blame shifting here. It has to do with a generational spillover.
Well, no, when you say
It spills over. And
they probably felt bad and didn't know how to deal with it because they
Exactly.
never thought about your mom dying.
Exactly.
So they said, we have this resource,
Right.
this makes her smile, and
Right.
we want the smile. So most of the time it's not intentional, but at the core of everything, it's where you anchor your beliefs,
Right,
being
exactly.
self-beliefs, and the choices you make
And that
together.
comes later, and he does
Yeah.
talk about, but then there's some children that are given food instead.
Yeah.
I got the shopping sprees.
Yeah.
Some kids are saying, let's go to McDonald's, right? Let's go to McDonald's, and then the kid has an addiction to, this is how these things start.
When you talk about
Your
the
mommy and
sourcing
daddy's
or whatever
drinking.
you talked about, when you talk about the supply. So
Right, supply.
It's unintentional a lot of times
Well-
because people don't recognize that, and that would be supplies where
That's
people
correct.
have to use whatever
Good
supply
point.
they have.
Yes, this is correct, and supply comes in different ways. We can talk about alcohol, smoking,
Parents might leave their kids
cannabis,
because they're
alcohol,
Yeah.
sex, gambling, shopping, guilty as charged.
Could be your team, right? You might always go down and it's all about your team. And you
Exactly.
sacrifice the rest of your family just for your, whatever it is, your wrestling or your football. Like people, it's there
Well,
somewhere.
it's an escapism, and this, like I said, balance is very difficult to achieve.
And people know it also.
Oh, sure.
You don't have
We
to
can't
tell
fool
someone.
many
We
people.
all know ourselves.
We know it and other people know it too. Don't underestimate people. A lot of people are a lot smarter than you think. And I used to work for this one boss up the street, and I think I've mentioned this before, and he wanted me to do the script and to sell myself to potential patients. And I said to him, I was very candid, I go, people can see through this. I go, oh no, they can't. I go, I have engineers, doctors, I have people that are blue collar workers that are extraordinarily brilliant. I look to see through this whole charade. I go, I'm not presenting this. Give me my walking papers now,
So getting back to, though, their shopping and you're doing
Well,
the
the
shopping.
thing is, we do different things. My brother was an alcoholic and addict, I think drug addict. I had another brother, it's within my family, it runs rampant. And the thing is, you choose your poison. And it comes in different ways, addictions. And the thing is I was gonna discuss, actually, the topic initially was going to be emotional intelligence, because that's part of, what kind of pulls us out of this
Well, yeah,
quandary.
that's the core.
That's the core, because you have to have self-awareness first and foremost.
And you
That's
have,
wrong.
like, you teach people to tap into it
Yes,
by these things. They don't seem like one doesn't do it,
yes.
but all of them do it. It becomes the salad.
Exactly, that's beautifully stated. I love that, presentation.
You can't do one and just say, I did this.
No,
it didn't work.
it's just like, some people will say, well, if I exercise, or if I just don't, refrain from having my ice cream tonight every day. Well, that's a good start. But the thing is we have to look at the whole big picture. And don't overwhelm yourself, because the thing is that we beat ourselves up. If you can't expect to have a metamorphosis occur. It takes a
And
while
you're
for the
good at that. You always
gestation
tell
period with the
people,
butterfly.
don't-
Please don't beat yourself up. The thing is you have to have the
Progress.
awareness, and this doctor kept re-emphasizing, until you do not blame shift, they didn't No, I have a perfect thing I want to tell you. My stepmother used to abuse me horrifically. This is very applicable to what we're going to talk about. And you can identify with this quite strongly because you got the beatings severely like I did. I had horrific beatings and psychological things done to me, which I won't go into. It's quite distressful. And many others have. I'm not the only one. God, you know, I'm very aware of it.
What makes us that people like look and, you know, have an opinion, and that's up to them to have it, is because we're willing to tell the story.
Yes.
That's part of the therapy for ourselves.
Yes, we're healing our wounds and we're teaching other people how to heal their wounds.
And we're retelling our role in that story.
By being transparent, authentic.
Being okay with it, you have to put it out there to be okay with it.
We have to, and I'm okay with it.
And that's called being vulnerable.
Well, you need to heal.
Like, we would have to clean at 2 or 3 in the morning when he came home drunk. Like, clean the house. Like, that's insane.
Oh, I can
And then
identify
go to
with
school
that.
in the morning, right?
Oh, I can identify
Who
with
does
that.
Right? But, you know, and then, so, but it's your position, like what we're talking about, the story.
Mhm.
So now I look at it as the gift of long suffering.
Okay, then you're gonna appreciate my next statement.
Yeah,
Because I had the same exact thing as you. I was like Cinderella. I had to get up every Cinderella. That's right. I had to get up every morning and dust and clean. I never went out with friends on the weekend. And I was like you.
Oh, yeah,
I was up at
cut
5 o'clock in the morning putting clothes on the clothesline.
I tried to
They
play
were
sports to
frozen.
get out of it, but that didn't work.
No,
You
but
still
you
have to do it.
Right, because they wanted to
If
control
you missed the bus, you walk home, you missed it.
Right, because you know what happens?
Huh.
And you're going to appreciate this next statement. My stepmother was very abusive to me. And I had sexual abuse too with numerous men in the family. I won't go into the names. It was attempted. I have some friends that actually had much more involved than me, and many others have as well. So, but I did have it occur. But where I'm going with this is my stepmother, I had forgiven her, and the abuse was horrific. Similar to yours, there's a lot of parallelisms, I'm sure. Maybe some different type of dynamics, but a lot of similarities. And with many others as well. I don't want to dismiss any others' journeys, because if you are out there, and I know you're out there.
Everyone's journey is important.
Everybody's journey is different, and I'm sharing and you're sharing, so we can help people heal and recognize and have self-awareness.
You can't hide and heal.
No, you can't. You have to reveal.
Yes, you can't hide and heal, you have to reveal. But that's all true.
This is very true. So I was very supportive of this woman, and she passed away, actually at my age. I'm 63. And she died of thyroid cancer. It was the type of, it's called early, by the way, thyroid cancer is curable. There's different types of it. And she had the type that she succumbed to early death. And there was other determining factors as well, and autoimmune disorders, which exacerbated it and facilitated her early demise. But in any event, I was supportive of her in the last 2 years of her life, and I tried to lift her, and I was showing compassion and empathy for this woman, because this is when I healed a lot right here, is when I realized this woman's been wounded, and this is why she did this to me. She's wounded. And I'm going to be feeding myself poison the rest of my life, and expecting her to get sick, because I'm going to make myself sick if I don't. So, but the thing is, it was a process. It was like, love in the hole, I forgave.
No.
But when I said to her, she was dying, I think she had like 2 or 3 days left to live. She was up in New York, and I spoke to her briefly on the phone. It was our last conversation. And the Holy Spirit spoke to me. The Holy Spirit, this wasn't me talking.
Amen.
This was my growth as a person, and the Holy Spirit totally took out center stage on this one. I attribute it to God and the Holy Spirit. And we had our last conversation. She was very weak. And you know what I said to her? I didn't even think this one through. This came right off the cuff. It rolled right off my tongue like a party favor. And I said, thank you for being the person that you were. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for you.
Amen.
How do you like that?
But
Does that not resonate with you?
But that's the truth, because
You
for those that have helped, those that have rode, those that have been for you, there's the same value as those that are against you and made it hard. Because everybody wants to be a diamond, they don't want to go through the dirt, and the finish is the polish and the cut. So you can't wear the dirt all your life. You gotta clear it up. And
Well, that's why you get up and run, because you were disciplined to get up at 3 o'clock and clean
I'm
the
a
house.
chooser, not a loser.
So you took the good, you took the lemon,
Yin and
made
yang.
lemonade out of that
What's
lemon
the opposite of it?
experience.
Somebody told me this once, and I didn't believe them for a year.
Mm-hmm.
They said, listen, inside everything that you think is rotten about you is your gift.
I love that.
And
That's
I
beautiful.
thought, no way, you're lying.
Mhm.
But I thought about that for so
Yes.
long. I would sit there and say, how is that possible? They couldn't just say that to me. They weren't getting any money. And then the vision came, the Holy Spirit, and said, bro,
Well, sure, if the
you
Holy
can
Spirit
work like a
speaks to us.
horse, like a Clydesdale, being whipped by a Amishman, right? Like that's your work ethic. I don't need sleep. I need a little, well, I need a lot of food. No, I do need sleep. But anyway, it's the mentality, right? At the end of the day, the body is never going to be first, it's the mind. And that's what she's talking about. The mind, the body follows the mind. The mind, you wouldn't have people that could say, and your lid is your limit. So nobody would say you're going to go to the moon if they never said you're going to go to the moon. It just didn't happen when they said it.
Yeah, you have to, there's building blocks that get you that. And the thing is, we're not patient with ourselves, like I said, in our country, predominantly, we want like.
But a lot of people really aren't patient with
We
themselves.
need to, this is because that's like a self-love, because if you have the recognition to really have patience, when you do like the self-nurture with the good food and supplementation and drink the water and read healthy things in the mind, like the TV, take off the boob too, because people are walking around high anxiety, like they stuck their finger in a spark plug, lately, because the more you listen to that, those are my high anxiety ones that walk in this office. They're wired for sound, man.
Well, one thing I know is that those type of people are harder on other people than themselves, like I was. So when you can become harder on yourself than other people, you soften your heart. And you become clear. Because anybody can tell anybody what to do. But at the end of the day, execution is it. It's wanting to read these things. It's wanting to have a journal. And once you get what you said, awareness, emotional intelligence.
That's a part of emotional intelligence. I'm going to be talking about more ways. And the author of this book, Daniel Coleman, he wrote, I think it was in 1990 to be exact, if my memory serves me correctly, emotional intelligence, and I read it back then, I lent it to someone. And they say in business today, if we don't have emotional intelligence, our business is doomed for failures, many of us. And emotional intelligence has to do also with self-growth, self-awareness, stabilizing our moods, regulating our emotions, and processing them correctly and appropriately releasing them, and allowing vulnerability to come into our lives. Because this is where we have respect. Brenda Brown has numerous books on vulnerability for men and women alike, because men are grouped in society, you don't show emotion, and that's just why men are out cheating and lying and are deceptive and drugging, and this narcissistic behavior is cultivated with these behavioral patterns, because it's hiding pain. These people are riddled with pain. No matter what addiction you succumb to, there is pain as under the hood is the driving force until that wound heals. And when you reveal, like you said, the heals when we reveal and we talk about it, we know where how it manifested, because that's part of the healing process, is the recognition is how this was cultivated in the first place. And when you can have that recognition, you can help break generational, multi-generational behavioral patterns, so you don't pass them on to the next generation. It's process. You're not gonna like wake up, everything's gonna, it's like taking a bed sheet and going, and all the wrinkles are out.
Look,
no.
One of the reasons that people after COVID, I'm going to explain to you the mind, because I'm a mind coach. The reason that most people don't want to go back to work besides working, is because of the mind. Because it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Women, and there's differences.
Yes.
But women are so hard on each other that they can't be vulnerable around other women. You can ask them. I have 3 daughters and a wife. So you have to understand it's a human mind thing. I take people to the top of the mind. Listen, why we make decisions, that is the core, and it is to avoid pain and gain pleasure. But what we don't understand is the consequences of these decisions. And when we understand those, then we can become a different chooser. If you go north instead of south on your decisions, right? Because no one physically held you down and said you can't exercise. No one held you down and said you can't not go to McDonald's and eat, good fruit, right? Because you have the money and you have the resources. There's no poor rich. It's a mindset, okay? So when you understand the importance of your life becoming fulfilled and not happy, happiness is external. Fulfillment is the greater spiritual God thing.
This is right. We have to work from the inside out, not the outside in. And the external, like you said, the pleasure seeking. We've talked about, you know, the different ways of addiction.
I hated running for years, and now.
Well, you like the results, and you like the feeling because you release happy chemicals, serotonin, and the pleasure seeking wants. Even shopping does this. I didn't know this. Shopping gives you the same damn high as cocaine. I remember going to King of Prussia and Neiman Marcus, and I was like, nothing could stop me. I was like a runaway train, like you. I was a Brahma bull charging in a Neiman Market.
You know people carrying your bag on? I see you with a big black fluffy hat and just going.
I did this before, and I'm like, get out of my way.
And all these guys are carrying your bags. We have you. We got you.
Yeah, they're lifting them like weights. I was doing Christmas shopping all year round. So I go into oh my God, I remember shopping.
Brenda gives the best presents, everyone says.
Oh my God, I remember. Oh my God, the high it is. Like, because I have done coke, and I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, listen.
I was 70s, I was, you know, we had parties, and I did partake.
Well, you know, one thing people don't understand is you can't get rid of your, what they say you can't get rid of your addiction, it's not that. It's you're a chooser, and the opposite of it is when you choose what's good for you. People call it addicted, no, it's just you're making choices and you filled one thing with the other. You can't empty anything.
That's pleasure seeking. It's a temporary fix. Solution to a long-term problem.
So how'd you get out of shopping to where you are today?
Well, first of all, I don't make as much money as I used to. For one thing, I guess.
But if you made the same money,
I think I've grown a lot because the thing is, I think
because you know you don't need that. We learned that. You know, listen, I used to love buying these cars.
Oh, did you have that going on?
My wife will tell you.
Boom, boom.
Right. And it was because when I was a kid, I was always like, my dad never had new cars, and I was always like, I'm not going to be a bum.
Right.
You know, being liquored up, drinking, woman. I said, I'm going to buy a car. I want our family to have nice cars. And I heard this thing. So anyway, I was like, I'm going to do it. But either way, I chased money for a long time.
Oh, I have too.
And when I hit my first 100,000, I was like, I'm more miserable today than when I made 20,000.
Well, there's studies actually. Did you know about money? I think Reader's Digest did an article after 60,000, it doesn't make any difference.
And somebody
said,
said,
it's an even playing field financially.
No, it doesn't, because there's always going to be someone that makes more, so you'll never be filled. And I was like, that's scared me. And they said, you know, so anyway, I don't want to take away.
No, please do. Please take center stage.
These are the things that scared me. I was like, wow, what am I going to do? I don't even know what to do. Right?
Well, because it never ends. It's like an itch that can't be scratched.
Right.
You know, whether you're talking drugs, sex, you know, I mean, you're never going to get enough. It's like you can never get enough. You're hollow. You're like the hollow, like I mentioned, the Easter bunny that's chocolate and it's hollow. You can't. You're insatiable. And that's a miserable existence when you can't fill it up.
Yeah.
And you're always looking external for validation, your image.
Well, like, what do you call them? It's like a quick shot, but that goes
right.
Away, right? 10 minutes.
Oh, I remember the highs.
And then all the effort you put in for 10 minutes, now you gotta go find something else to get, you know, make you excited, happy.
This is why we have, unfortunately, a lot of unwanted children in this world. It's true, because what comes up must come down. And this is why we have a lot of unwanted children, it's sad to say, in society and globally, because sex is also looked up as a drug. And it's just like taking coke or drinking or what have you, whatever it is, that quick fix. But the result in this, now you have a child. And this child might not be wanted now or loved because the parents who produce this child do not have the components of maturity to give this child the right sustenance to grow up to be healthy and functional in society. So society takes the brunt of the offspring, and we absorb that through crime and taxes and all sorts of. I was a victim of that, and I think of what happened with us, actually, if you look at this person's childhood history, if one is to look at it. So we take the brunt of society because sex is also an addiction which produces offspring, but the thing is, everybody else parents the child except the ones that produced it. I said it, I'm sorry.
No, listen.
But I'm just telling my truth and my perspective on that.
I never realized if the truth hurts. You know, mostly your friends that you hang out with and go to club, and they're not going to say anything right because they don't. Because the most 10 dangerous words, they'll never forget these. These are the most 10 dangerous words I'm going to give you right now. Is what do other people think and what do other people say? They're the most.
You know, we think about that, don't we?
So, listen. Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that most
No.
people didn't feel that way.
It took a long time.
I agree.
But running is the component of that. Well, God first.
Yes.
I wake up, I'm grateful for my wife, Christy,
Yes.
my kids. You
Yes.
know, I mean, you know,
Beautiful.
Gabby,
Beautiful couple.
Kayla, Nick, and Kylie. I always try to get them age. It's just easier. Not that I know their age.
Mhm.
I just know they're my kids. But anyway, and Clifford, you know, like, just that gratefulness is my grounding. And people say, how do you stay humble and be confident? And I said, easy, run 6 miles. No one can do that for you, right? Like, so you get real humble, like when you feel your body going.
Well, they say exercise can be addicting too, but you know what? I'll take that addiction and eating healthy.
I don't care what you, here's the thing is, you can call it whatever you want. I allow whether I value what you call it. I wake up grateful and I chase the day and empty the tank, right? I don't have time for you to work. If I
When
give
you
you
empty
my
your
time.
tank, you're filling it up with the good stuff.
Oh man, I empty it out. I get the energy from the trees.
Right.
People are hungry. The sun is shining. You told me about the early morning sun.
Oh, it's great stuff. It's good for the heart, folks. Early morning sun is great for the heart.
It feels so good coming up out of the trees first thing.
My.
I mean, I watch it from dark to light.
It's beautiful. Did you ever see that sun come out? I mean, there's so many beautiful gifts out there.
When you watch the fall get like ripped apart by the sun, and then you see the sun,
so
and you see the rays going through.
It takes your breath away. It's so these so beautiful miracles that exist every day.
And then hearing the birds in the morning, like the morning time, like nature gets up and says, "Thank you, God." Yep. And today I picked a flower. I forget what kind. I planted it.
I thought perhaps you gave it to.
I planted it.
For your buttercup, like you could put a buttercup under the chimney, so do that, and it's
a daylily, I think, a yellow one. I was at the hospital, and they have all these flowers, so I always try to smell them when I'm running.
Oh, good. You should take time to smell the roses. Very good.
Like, for literally, like, if you think about what people said, if you agree and it coincides with you, you should think about it more. If it doesn't, let it go.
Well, the thing is like, my good friends, we're pretty authentic with each other. And, we both, my friends, we know our strengths and weaknesses. And I divulge my weaknesses to my friends. I think I have no qualms. At one time I wanted to smell like a rose, and then when people.
But that drains you, right?
The other thing people should know is like shine.
Is the energy to deflect or to hide. That's the energy that you need to go forward.
Exactly.
Wouldn't you agree?
And friends will accept you as you are, the true blue, authentic friends, because they don't look at me as like the blushes off the rose, because they got to know me.
Yeah.
They see that,
Well,
I have
when people say they got to know me, let me tell you, when you say you're friends, there's two components to that you have to understand. The foundation of that is vulnerability, and they learned your story. If you learn anybody's story, if you took the time, there's no way you could be not like, wow, you're amazing.
all have beautiful stories.
But if you don't tell it because you're used to hiding it, then people don't get to know you, and then that's where we get that, But if you're like, wow, tell me where you're from.
People do not ask questions, though.
Questions. What did you do? Like, I love asking questions.
Well, this is a part of growth, actually, because this gentleman I was talking about, Garber Mate, he said we were so disconnected. We're wired, technologically speaking, this is globally, but where he said it's inversely proportional to how we're connected from a socialization standpoint. We were further apart. We don't talk in person anymore. We're becoming robotic. And this is creating more addiction problems, actually. Because humans yearn. Do you know about 80 to 85% of body language speaks volumes about who you are and what you're trying to convey to the person?
I believe it.
Something like that. But we're taking that away. As we live textual, relationships, or it's a paucity of that exchange. There's something to be said about being in person because we're exchanging energy.
Textual is like sexual. It's like this addiction. It sounds like when
well,
you say, but people are on that thing. They fall into pools. And I mean, but you didn't work. But I watched the thing where a lady was, she was getting her kids ready. She
I saw that.
She went right in the pool. It said the first swim of the year, and that's what I thought about you. And I said, yeah, right. But that's like. She's talking about connecting, right?
We were not connecting enough people, and at this time, we need to connect more than ever. Put the phones down, turn the TV off.
Who should we connect to first?
Ourselves.
And can you give people some tips? Like, I thought a salt bath was like, I'm not doing this. There's no way it's real.
It's too fast.
Right? I know. I was just like, there's no way it's going to work. 15 minutes of salt bath? right? I don't know, you know, I grew up with sisters, my mom, I mean, these are all amazing women, and my 3 daughters and my wife, so.
They don't get better than Christy.
You know,
Christy loves your girls.
She's a 10 out of 10.
I haven't met Clifford yet, or Kush. He's part of the family. You didn't even talk about Kush.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Do you have any other pets we don't know about?
No.
A rat maybe?
Well, we have temporary custody of Stuart and Tito. No, we're not temporary custody, but our daughters, they are going to college nursing.
Are these kitty cats?
No, they're puppies.
Okay. Oh, you got 2 additions to the family.
Yeah, they're tiny. They're so cute.
Are they on board at this time in the home?
Yeah, they're a team. They go together. Like they don't.
Oh, you can't take one without the other.
Yeah, Stuart is the guard dog, and he looks out for everything. And Tito just goes around, like hangs out with them, and they just go.
Okay, because there's an alpha. And yeah, the alpha. Who's the alpha? Is Kush the alpha still in the family?
You mean Clifford?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were. I was just calling your dog Kush.
I was wondering where that was coming from.
I thought it was called Kush.
No, but
the
we
big
were
red dog.
I'm so sorry.
Remember?
Because I was saying, does he have Cushing's disease? And I go, it's a coincidence you call him Kush.
No.
And I don't know where I ran with that one. Woo, out to lunch.
One of your gifts is you're so good at details.
Well, I didn't get that one right though, did I?
No, but you are really good. It's Clifford, the big red dog, like the cartoon.
Okay.
His name that.
Okay, his name was Kush.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
I'm sure a lot of people can relate to Kush.
I thought it was Kush because of his tush. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it could have been a puss, like a kitten.
Yeah.
Kush the puss. I don't know. But I know it was a dog. But I had it all wrong.
He's the family dog,
Okay.
but he looks out for Christy.
She
He follows Christy everywhere. If it's 95 yesterday, and Clifford's laying in the sun waiting for her to come to the game.
Oh,
I'm like,
God
come on in.
bless his heart.
He's like, nope, I'm not coming in. My mom's gonna be home.
Oh.
Yep, there's water. He has
Let me
water
that
in
song, the things you do for love, the things you do for love.
Yeah.
Whether it's a dog or husband, they give unconditional love. That's
But
what
dogs
they're pretty
can tell if
consistent.
there's something suspicious.
Animals are very consistent with that unconditional
Intuitive.
love. Yes.
Because if
Oh,
someone comes in our
absolutely.
house and
Oh,
someone
yeah.
don't like them, he just doesn't let them in.
They can tell if, yes, they can sniff that out.
Twice we had to lock Clifford up. I'm not going to say any names. We had to lock him up in the kennel all together. And he moved the kennel across the floor, right?
Yeah, because he was smart.
Geez, I hope I passed the sniff test.
Yeah. No, he
He
loves people. He loves people.
Okay.
But there's no hugging in our house. Can't do it. Clifford will go bananas. And
Oh, if you could touch Christy.
anybody,
Pretty
but
much
definitely
any-
Christian.
Oh, my, okay.
But we got him from the
Something
SPCA. Something happened, and
Oh, God,
yeah.
oh.
so we got him from the
So you have
SPCA.
to basically reprogram.
I mean, we've had
Yeah, well,
that for 10 years.
Reprogram an animal, like in humans are very much the same
Sometimes
way.
you can't.
We have to create new behavioral patterns and reinforcement in our pathways. Our neurological pathways have been disrupted if we didn't get the love and the nurturing and intention. And I mean, like I said, we don't blame our family. Like I didn't blame my stepmother. She was abused when she was growing up. So like I said, that's all she knew.
Mhm.
And God bless her, she passed away at 63. And I think I left her with peace with that statement. I guess there's different ways to take it, but it was from the heart, and the Holy Spirit really spoke through loud and clear that day. But the thing is we cannot blame shift anyone. We need to have more compassion for people. Sometimes it's tough when you're the recipient of inappropriate, unacceptable behavior. Sometimes it's very difficult, and to be on the receiving end of some sarcastic, acidic type
But it's
of
not for them,
lashing
it's
out.
for you, and you need to
Perfect.
understand that.
Yeah, and that is very true, and we have to have compassion.
Because that hate will drain your soul.
Oh, it's terrible.
And kill you.
Well, this is why these people, the toxicity is when the patients come through the door, that's why I'm looking at the whole person, because a lot of the bodies are toxic, and this Dr. Gabor Mate, he talks about the autoimmune disorders are rampant. 92%
Because your
of people.
body's taking energy to fight that,
Right.
and it's in your body.
You're turning
Right.
on yourself.
Yes,
You're on the worst, your army's turned around. So you got the guns, you got the guns like this at the enemy, and then you're turning them on yourself. It's like playing Russian roulette with your body, mind, soul, heart, and being.
And-
You can't be turning the guns on yourself, and this is what people are coming in with autoimmune. 92% of people have an autoimmune disorder. That is like off the charts. That's just stratospheric. And you have to look at the whole patient, and this is what I do in my practice.
People do that when they're looking for outside fulfillment, which will never happen. They call it happiness.
Yeah, that's the word
And
that's
happiness
used.
is only one feeling of many. There's depression, there's anxiety, you're crazy,
And we go
you're
through it, it's
psycho,
okay to
you're
have all this.
joyful.
Because
Well,
this
you
is
need
all-
to feel them all,
Yes,
it's
well, you
part
have
of
to
the
feel it.
connection.
Exactly, you have to
But
process
you need the
that.
tools to come back.
Exactly, you have to be able to regulate the emotions.
You have to control, you have to master discipline of your emotions.
Correct, beautiful. This is why you were successful in
So,
your pursuits.
well, it's every day, and you can't give yourself credit or discredit for the past. See, the past and the future are a mind thing, and it's all the mind, so they don't
Right.
exist. We have one slot through this time.
That's right,
now.
this is whatever we got, minute by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, month by month, year by year. It can go on and on. You need to stay in today, and this is an AA slogan actually, stay in today, easy does it.
And
Live
what's
and let
next?
live.
And there's always something
Easy
next.
does it.
People
And-
think that there's a place of comfort and relaxation, and that's only.
We're
what
always
you're-
seeking, we're always like, we're looking for the next thing. When you
Yeah.
start looking ahead like that, that means you're in trouble.
Yes.
Because The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is a powerful book. It's about staying in and appreciating him and the gratitude and abundance of the daily blessings. And that's manna for the soul, mind, body, and spirit.
Amen.
And I have to interject this up. I had patients bringing up about what can I take during COVID, because we're getting so many different conflicts. I'm not going to take a stance here and get on my soapbox about COVID. And because, I don't want to, there's going to be different.
It's 11/11.
Oh, wow, we're going to talk about that sometime.
Friday the 13th.
Oh, man, it doesn't get better.
No, it
I
doesn't.
love it. We're going to talk about 11/11 someday. I got a lot to say about that sometime. But what I want to mention is there is a lot of confusing information out there. And people are coming in like, they're so confused and they're looking for answers. And nobody has all the answers. And first and foremost, you have to be reasonable with people and logical. So what I do know is a strong immune system does set the stage or the pace for thwarting if you do succumb to getting the COVID. You will have more resiliency and come back quicker and stronger. So that's my goal and role, if you will. And I work, one of my massage therapists, his name is George Allen. He owns the Allen Food Stores in York and formerly Hanover as well. He has an abundance of vitamin D3 with K2 and zinc. Those are powerful to protect. That's why that morning sun's important. If you can get out, I know a lot of you have to work, but the supplement you can take upward to 5,000 or more IUs per day. It won't hurt you. It is fat soluble. But the thing is we're deficient if you get your vitamin D levels checked. Most of us are deficient, and that's why we succumb to colds and flus more readily because of a vitamin D deficiency. And also I'd mentioned it could be the catalyst when we do get sick. We want to avoid any form of inflammation in our body whatsoever. I had talked about when that light, like when you rub sticks together. This can be positive or negative actually. You rub a stick together, you get a flint, you get a flame, you get a fire, then you get a full-blown inferno. And this is kind of how cancers start, because when you get the inflammation, initially from other type of small, innocuous, appears as though inflammation, that can create further inflammation down the road, especially if there's a reappearance and a reuniting. Through also various autoimmune disorders, like I said, many people are getting, there's a bevy of autoimmune disorders, like I say on the cause list. They are reversible, a lot of them, and this is where nutrition and fitness comes in. So you need to safeguard yourself, vitamin D3 with K2, zinc, and Allen's has an abundance in different types. That's a great, go to farm fresh foods. I mentioned organic foods, there's an abundance now. We're going to talk about what's in season. It's imperative to eat what Mother Nature is smiled down upon, and then the most beautiful photosynthesis is a miracle in itself. And we get these beautiful abundance, cornucopia of wonderful food. So please go to where the trucks are. You can look it up online, the various locations. And please leave a little tip for your brothers and sisters because they're in need, so they don't have to eat at McDonald's or godforsaken places. Sorry, McDonald's is going to probably, I'm going to have eggs all over my house, egg McMuffins, like slow. But I'm just trying to, because when we make our brothers and sisters healthier, we add to the fabric or to the ocean of giving love and lifting and enlightenment to others' souls and hearts, so we can function optimally is a society globally and universally.
I can tell you, my family won't eat ice cream sandwiches in a box. No, I want to tell you this story,
Okay, I want to
right?
hear it, yeah.
So, you know, I don't eat that anyway, but my
What about the
daughter was
cupcakes?
eating-
How's those cupcakes
They're
going?
terrible. Well, you know, I keep thinking of the ingredients and
See,
all calories
Christy.
don't, you know, I still eat them, right? It's that point where I get the peanut butter.
Christy's so funny.
So, I still eat them, but I'm going days in
I'm only
between.
picking, I
I'm
just
going-
Christy.
But I will tell you this, Carol Mark, I told him I wanted number 9 bananas. Praise God, thank you, a full one your way. They got, organic, that means organic, just in case, I just know the numbers.
Never
You
know.
don't want 5 or 4.
I thought it was
bananas.
Love Potion number 9.
Yeah, well, it is when you eat organic, and when you eat organic food, you're gonna feel more in love with yourself, and therefore you can love other people, right?
Well, that's where
You know what I
get it.
tell, you know, I tell men, I'm like, listen, you know, when you can say to another man or anyone that you love them, and you can say hi, that's courage.
Yeah.
That's called being a beast, right?
Uh-huh.
Because everyone walks around like a scared thing. Because
Yes.
But anyway, getting back to the ice cream sandwich. So I guess it was a mint chocolate chip one. But she left it in her car. You know it was 90-some degrees.
Oh my.
Right?
Yes.
You're thinking all over the chair. No.
Yeah, it's like pea soup
no.
with chocolate in it.
No.
Right?
It's kept its exact form. I have a video.
Stop.
Right? And they won't ever eat them again.
Wait
right?
a minute.
Did it?
Yeah.
Stop it. That reminds me of the Twinkies.
It wasn't frozen anymore, but it,
But that,
Oh,
when she ate it, it was
my.
like, that was just naturally going, when they had it from cold, it never changed form.
Oh my God, it reminds me of David Dietz. He was an organic farmer down here at Central Market for many, many years. He had Twinkies. And he did a science project to see how long they'd last. Those things, they
still
didn't
there.
morph into anything else. There was nary a speck of mold on those puppies.
You know what feels good when I eat my bananas? I throw the banana peels, right? Because they're organic.
Right.
Right, so I throw my wrapper anywhere I
Look at
can.
those birds flying around everywhere you go.
You know, I don't put them in the street so a motorcycle or someone would like hit them, or a runner or a bike, but,
Or an elderly person by a
or an
grave.
elderly person, right?
Right, grave.
Yeah,
sorry. I'm only picking.
So,
Give things levity. We
but
have
you're a
to.
great coach, we appreciate you. It's a
Yes.
whole thing, you know, it's a whole holistic approach.
Do you know some good core exercises to show the group today?
Some good core exercises.
Did I talk to?
I guess.
No, well, because we'll show an exercise.
Let me tell you what I was doing this morning. You want me to show you what I
I
did
wanna
this
do
morning?
it.
And then you tell me if what I did.
Okay.
And this
All
is
right.
just something I've been watching on TikTok. So I was
Okay.
like, Shane, just do this a bunch and
Okay.
see if you can do it. Now watch
Okay,
me.
let's-
Now watch me be able to
It's
not do it.
showtime, folks.
Now watch me
It's
not be able to do it.
showtime.
Alright, so this is
Okay.
what I was doing this morning, just to work my stomach. I was just going,
Mm-hmm. He's
butt
vulnerable.
touch,
Uh-huh.
butt touch. Just to go down,
Oh, yeah.
butt touch, crisscross,
Yes.
touch my butt,
Yes.
and get back up.
I do that in my classes, actually. Are you
So-
going to come to my York College class?
Sure.
I do that one with a
So-
rollback.
You feel it, I feel
Yes.
it in here, right? And I watched the thing and it
Uh-huh.
said, if you get up like this,
Uh-huh.
if you can't get up like that, and
Right,
you get
yeah,
up
yeah,
like
we
this,
talked about that, remember?
there's a problem.
Well, that's longevity, that's an
And you
indicator.
need to start
of your
getting serious
longevity.
about it. Yeah, like if you're going like this to get up, and I sent you
I
that
haven't
ride
watched it,
today.
I'm sorry, yeah.
You didn't watch it?
I have not been a minute.
So I'm gonna show you.
I
This
will.
is a
Please
prime
do.
example of core strength
Yes.
and why it's important. This is what you're teaching me. I'm just a student. So, but
I'm glad you're
but-
here.
look, this is, they can watch it, and you tell me if this is not. I'm going to show you one other. I'm showing her if she wants
Oh, my.
to. Is that ridiculous? So these people are on a ride. I'm going to tell you
Oh,
what we
yeah,
saw.
okay, so
These people are on a ride, it's a round ride,
Mhm.
everyone's sitting here, and no one's seatbelted in, it's just spinning around, not crazy aggressively, right?
Right.
But there's two people that were so out of shape that they fell on the floor and they're bouncing around in the ride because they can't get themselves back up. Now, is that not, like, that's a,
and they were young, actually. too.
yes.
They look like in their 30s, maybe late 20s. I see that in my office, folks. I'm in the room, I'm 60, like I said, my core is strong, but it's been
You're
years.
63, that's,
This is years of dedication. I didn't get this way overnight. It's not like bada bing, bada boom, and presto.
no, it's daily
This
habits.
is my deal. daily habits for years because that's what got me out of my personal
And
funk
you find daily
and
habits that
depression.
work for you, right? Like you love
Yes.
swimming, I love running. You have to find what
Yes.
you're gonna do every day.
And I always
It
ask
seems like a lot of
patients.
bikers have bellies though. I've always, that's
Oh,
why I didn't start.
my.
Not that they all do, because listen, there's a lot of you don't, but it seems like a lot of bikers. Why is that? Do you ever see that?
Bikers?
Like peddlers.
Bicycle.
Oh, bicycle. I think
It
like
seems
the
like
boom boom
I know a lot
motorcycles.
of people that ride bicycle and they'll ride a lot of
Okay.
miles, like 50, 100, and I'm like, why is that still there? Is
Okay,
it because
but-
of diet?
You answered your own question.
Oh, all right.
You already knew the answer to that. Nutrition is 90% of what our body looks like. 10%. I know people think it's more than that. I get the York college students, I had to educate them, because they go, Brenda, can you please do a lot of abs today? And I go, I teach a lot of kickboxing moves. I go, I show you a lot of abs with kickboxing. I go, when we're standing, we do ab stuff as well. Because in their mind, they want me on that floor doing like basic training, stuff they've seen, like Navy SEAL type of related ab workouts. But I try to educate them, I can do standing ab work as well. You know, when I'm punching, I mean, you gotta use your core, like when I do like an uppercut, I want you to copy me with the uppercut. You're gonna rotate through the shoulders and make it a figure eight. Okay, okay, and I want you to rotate here. You don't want to be over exaggerating. Just, okay, keep it going, roll it right up under the chin, like, okay, roll it, and think of a figure eight. And get those shoulders going like a figure eight. Where
I
do
don't
you
know how
feel?
to do that. I don't
Okay,
know.
well, can you see me? See how I'm soften my knees, and then I'm gonna kind of roll my shoulders and I roll like a figure eight. Okay, so it's like this. Where are you feeling now?
In here.
Beautiful. And I'm trying to, and I have to do that with the students because that's what I do with yoga. I go, where are you feeling it? So they understand that, you know, even standing moves can work the core as well. Okay?
I love doing headstands. One day I'm going to do a handstand, and I practice in the pool. Boy, I need way more core, but headstands.
No, you're on your way. You've done great with it.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
done absolutely great. And I failed to show the arm one with the picking up the tissues. I've forgotten this. I think like this.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go through these arm ones again because everybody wants these arm ones. Everybody wants it. And like I said, this here is a big problem. And it's hormonal a lot. The ladies get it earlier than men. Our testosterone levels aren't as high, so we're more estrogen based, so we're more prone to it. But I showed you the slicing, slice, slice, slice. Work up to 100. Is that Shane the Train? Slice, and I had shown you the slap, 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 slap. I'll demonstrate. Slap, 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 slap. Slap, 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 slap. Work up to 100. If you can only do 50 in the morning, 50 at night, it doesn't take that long. And I also showed you about, you know, pulling it. I always say catching a butterfly or an insect. Pull, push out. And I want you to think of creating a W or a V formation when you do this. So I'm grabbing and clasping, and then I'm pushing out, like I call it traffic cop here. You pull, you push out. You pull, you push out. I did flap and slap, like this, like you're flapping, like this is like flapping below. You can go flap, 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 come up. Flap, flap, flap. You can just go like this. You're gonna feel these after 100, trust me. Cumulatively speaking. And the other one was like this, where you're getting your hand kissed. Gosh, I haven't had that done in a long time. Like the Pretty Woman, or was it Breakfast at Tiffany's, where Aubrey Hepburn had her hand, I can't remember. You screw a light bulb in, you unscrew it. See, you want that twisting formation. It's causing internal and external rotation in the shoulder. A lot of people have shoulder problems. This helps this by default as well, as a byproduct. So this is out, you come in, you come up. Internal and external. That's it, Christy. You're beautiful. Beautiful. You would be a great ballerina. And I think I showed one other one. With this, I got the tissue where you pull and you come down and you pull. It's kind of like you're picking up a tissue or something daintily. You pull and then you kind of slide down a wall or traffic cop it down. You come up and you come down. Okay, work up to 100 of each. You're going to feel these, folks. And if you can only do like 25 or 20 and do these interchangeably or cumulatively together, you're going to feel it. And if you get tired, thanks, Christy, you reminded me. Corkscrew the arms out because this, you know, trust me, you'll feel it works the intrinsic muscles. I've had weight trainers come in and take my class, my HIIT class. People are like, what is HIIT? It's called high intensity interval training. That's what it means. And what HIIT is push-ups, variations, burpees. I use various weights, light weights, and I use my own body weight actually to do a lot of the routines. There's some a lot of plyometrics, there's a lot of jumping, a lot of star jabs, variations on that. That's what HIIT is. But I do use we use our own body weight a lot, and it's very effective, okay? So if you can get an opportunity to do a HIIT class, please be a participant. It incinerates a multitude of sins, actually. But most of what our body looks like is what we're putting, imbibing.
That's hard to like fathom, right? Because like I stopped eating fried foods, and that was hard, man. I don't love.
Did you miss it?
I thought I loved it. No, I don't miss. Huh?
No, do you miss it a lot?
No, I don't miss it at all.
Because other people know. Because
I
after
feel,
a while,
I feel dirty if I was to eat it, because like my body, like it can feel that grease in my body doesn't have that in there, man. Like I used to not eat the salad when I would eat the biscuit.
Right.
And I eat the salad afterwards, and it just feels better. Like your body yearns for that stuff.
Well, it's addicted to it.
Yeah.
You have receptors in your brain that are screaming, like screaming memes, like a key in a lock. Those receptors scream for that sugar, and that's another addiction, is eating. And I see that every day because we're feeding our emotions. So we're not healed, we're wounded, so we got to stuff the pie hole. And I'm not saying you're like that. I'm not trying to insinuate that.
No, I don't. Listen, people. Here's the one thing about me.
I know you can give rest.
Anything you want, you're allowed. Your
what
opinion
ab
matters.
exercise? Let's show them a couple ab exercises.
All right, let's.
Now I'm going to say basics. I was talking about.
I'm
I'm not going to show advanced stuff.
I'm not advanced, so that would be
bad. Listen, you're more advanced than you think. I'm going to show some basics because people want ab. I showed the squats and the lunges. I didn't to reiterate that. But you want an orange under your chin. This is going to hit the rectus abdominis. I'm going to tell you exactly what muscles we're working. And I'm not isolating them independently of themselves. I'm not doing them all today so you don't feel overwhelmed. Do the arm ones and the squats and the lunges. And I did not show this, I apologize. Orange under the chin, but you have the basics. You want to pretend you have an orange and an egg. I always use visuals because they're very powerful, okay? And if you have an egg, you'll crack it and think of what's going on over there. And you're going to interlace your hands. And think of your head like a ball thrown in a basket. Okay, so you want the weight of the head to be supported. You're going to lift your shoulders off the ground, the shoulder blades. And the orange stays under the chin of the egg. And your eyes are going to look directly at the ceiling. And you're going to lift. So I do not want you doing this because people have a tendency to yank and they say, Doctor, I did those ab exercises and my neck is worse than when I came into your office. I go, you're pulling on your neck, for God's sakes. I know you must have been. Let me see you execute that ab exercise I gave you. But do not pull on the neck. It's all one unit when you come down. And I'll say, if you're doing this, think of airplane arms. If you're an airplane, here's your visual. You're out to the side, the wings are. The wings go like this, you're going to crash. So you're going to crack your egg, and you're going to crash your plane if these go up. So the egg is here, and you're going to lift, and look at the ceiling and come down.
You can feel that, yeah.
Lift.
Feeling it right?
Yep. Where are you feeling it?
Right
Go
here.
slower.
Right,
Go
okay.
slower. Don't rush anything. Don't rush. Okay, up and down. Shoulder blades off the floor. Up. Now come down slow. Noah. Up and down.
That is no joke.
Now, see, watch what I'm doing. I'm lingering. I'm lingering. See? You want to linger up there like for 1 second, 2 count. 1, 2, come down. Like that.
How high do you go? Just right to the crest?
Yeah, hover a bit up there. Yeah, that's it. It looks beautiful. Where are you feeling it?
I'll show you right.
Okay.
Right in here.
That's great.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, try doing 50
I didn't
reps.
know there was muscles down there.
Well, you're going to find out, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay? And we're just going to show that one for today, but I'm going to show you every core for the ab. And this is the rectus abdominis. It starts right up here and comes down, so you know where we're working. And good, he's not crashing his plane. He's not crashing his plane, and his egg is under his chin. And his shoulder blades are off the ground, and his eyes are looking at the ceiling. Okay, another thing, let's use a breath with it. When do we exhale? When do we exhale when we exercise?
When we're going down. No?
On the work. We always exhale on the work.
See,
Inhale,
exhale on the work.
Inhale, and I get the breathing down, like we do with the
All
yoga.
right,
Inhale, exhale on the work. It's work coming up, going down, gravity plays a nice role, does it not?
Yes.
Okay? Nope.
I inhale on the way up or down?
Exhale going up.
Exhale going up?
Christy's gonna burst a gasket over
Right.
here. She's like, I've seen just about enough. Okay, but you do feel it, right?
I'm breathing right.
Yeah.
I just have to know what to do.
Exhale. I'm gonna teach you proper breathing because that is imperative when you do cardio work. People, whether you're doing aerobic activity, playing basketball, doing high-intensity interval training.
It's a lot.
I do Zumba, I'm a dancer. The breathing has to be, is very imperative to oxygenate the body fully so then you can go longer, stronger, and get leaner, but not meaner.
People think it's funny when I ground. I laugh.
Oh, well,
I laugh.
yeah. Oh, they wish they were out there right
It
alongside
feels
with you.
so good to ground. I
You
didn't
gotta get
realize.
going. Look at the time.
Oh, all right. Well,
Okay.
I gotta get going.
And you have to get up to Hershey, don't you?
Chocolate, like,
Where are you
look,
going,
if I
Hershey?
didn't have discipline, I'd be in big trouble. I'm going to Chocolate Avenue. Yeah,
I
right?
was thinking Electric Avenue. We're gonna rock down to.
So what kind of chocolate's good?
And then we're getting higher and higher, and then we'll get higher.
Just
and
from a
higher.
little exercise,
Yeah,
you start
we're
getting
higher and
stuff
higher.
going.
We're
Amen.
higher. Gratitude, appreciation.
I make
gratitude,
myself fun.
attitude.
Like I do now, I never thought I used to
Uh-huh.
run anytime, but I need it in the morning now,
Good, get that sun.
right?
Protect yourself, vitamin D3, K2 Allen's. It's right down the street. Support your local people here in our community instead of ordering out.
So what can they come get here when they come here? They get
What can't you get?
man,
How's that for
man.
me? How's that for a
man,
narcissistic?
man.
Man, that was one of my narcissistic traits. I really
I
can't.
know you're taking on a couple of yoga clients, but that's
Yes.
very until you have.
Yes, I'm actually renting out apartments. I'm showing one today, and once I get that done, I have a friend down the street who you know, who was a sponsor of your sneaks, and a lovely person. I've met, sweetheart.
Him and his
And I'm
wife
gonna take
is-
on that, but that will probably be unless we open a studio down the pike. And I'm gonna have you and Christy teach there, and I'm gonna go walk around and fix everybody.
Man, let's
That's
get
gonna be our
together.
goal. I'm gonna have you and Christy teach the yoga, and I gotta go around and fix the people.
I'd be the energy, Christy be teaching, and she be telling me,
Well,
she
the
be
thing is, you
adjusting.
can't leave people to their own devices when they're new with yoga. Okay?
No, listen, it's
You
like
cannot,
repetition,
so now it's
repetition,
out there.
repetition, and she's so good at saying, do you feel it? Do you not?
Do you
You know,
feel
when you go into like the stuff that we.
What is
you
that
can't do
called?
it- You can't do
What
it
is
with
that
music.
called?
But Brenda will be like this is what Brenda will say, turn the hips up and then to the ear, and I'm like, ah! You know, like she's on
I
point.
have to get it right from the beginning.
And yeah, no, and
Okay,
I love
with
that
you.
because she does these advanced moves and they all come together like these things. So don't beat yourself up.
It
Like
takes
I'm a
time,
rookie.
it's a process.
She's nice and she'll say that. I mean, she's nice. She'll encourage you. But I am a rookie. But it doesn't matter where you are. It's progress. I come
Yes.
for progress. I don't come for comparison. Not to
Don't
myself.
ever compare
no.
yourself to other people.
Or yourself.
I sucked a lot of these things, trust me. And
But
you
that's
know, you have
called
to be
being vulnerable. Don't put the word suck in. Put the word vulnerable there.
Yes.
Right? Like,
Yes.
you got to replace words and references.
Yeah, sucks is has
So,
a negative connotation.
yes,
unless
just
it's
replace suck with vulnerable.
suckling of
Yeah.
a child or.
Failure is progress. Like stop. I'm telling you, you do because no one became a race car driver by. Oh, you know what? Your dad was a race car driver. You don't have to do anything. Just drive the car. Oh, I'll just drive the car. Let's race like bandits. You know, it takes years of training,
Yes.
mind training, whatever you
Right.
do. You don't become an NBA player because, man, he's just tall and he got a jump shot. Listen, performance is a mirror of practice.
Yes. And
Period.
it's so worth it. And like
You're worth it.
Everybody's worth it. Let's give ourselves self-love, self-care.
And all you
self-nurturing.
ladies out there, your story is important. You're the ones that like are always like, well, this person, but you're the person that takes care of everybody. It's the women,
That's
99% of the time.
I'm
So
glad you recognize
all
that.
of your
women. God bless
stories
you for doing
matter.
that.
Like you'll say, well,
Yes.
this, but you too. You've made
Right.
it through everything. And give yourself credit.
That's
Like,
a good one too.
say I've made it through everything. So
Mhm.
give yourself a warrior badge.
Yeah, women, we women need more recognition.
And
They say women would make $100,000 a year just being a housewife and take care of the children. Maybe with inflation, it's more.
Just be careful who you let dump on you. You were
Yes.
trained to like take information,
Right.
and your nature is to like
No.
take information. But those people are draining you. Today, when I was running by a garbage can, I know we're gonna be done. I said, if you take everyone else's garbage, you can't recycle your own into something beautiful. So it's not your responsibility to let everyone puke all over you.
No.
I let people puke if they're gonna come out and they say, I feel good. I let that off my chest, now I'm ready to go. But if all you do is tell the same story to me every day, I'm like, no. Look, you're not gonna tell me all the time about
Well,
that
that
story.
takes your energy.
As a victim.
Well, that's where we have to have awareness with emotional intelligence, how your behavior affects other people.
So what are we doing next week?
Oh gosh, I'll probably talk more about emotional intelligence. I did want to talk more about fruits and vegetables. I didn't get to it today.
Well,
And
give us
what-
a fruit and give us a
what-
vegetable.
And what resembles your body, and also what's in season out there. The sweet corn is still alive and kicking. I picked up some beautiful melons the other day, and in addition, some of the potatoes, and there's beets are very good for the heart. If you're an athlete, beets or juice is fabulous for your heart, your muscles, fantastic. I won't get into all the different vitamins in there, but my gosh, there's so many. They're loaded. There's green beans and wax beans, the yellow beans that are available out there, and there's kale. You can juice kale. You can put kale in the oven like at 375 and spray it with like a coconut spray, and put some maybe hot pepper, pulverized flakes over, or if you want that little cayenne, or things of that nature. Maybe chop some garlic up and mix that into and over the kale, and you can bake kale and break it off and leave the spine at like 375 for about 10 or 15 minutes. Highly nutritious. There's an abundance of that as well out there. Tomatoes, of course, lycopene, natural sunscreen, protects you from prostate cancer. Watermelon is out as well, and another lycopene is a natural diuretic. As I mentioned, you're going to find the John real quick, but if you drink parsley and watermelon and eggplant are in season, and you're going to go wee a little bit more, and that's okay because it's a natural diuretic. But we'll talk about foods next week that resemble our organs again, and I talk about emotional intelligence and how it's going to help us survive in the marketplace and becoming better entrepreneurs for our community and society globally. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Sorry I missed you last week. I was away. Thank you.